Hey everyone, let's talk about the Roe versus Wade really quick. First of all, to let you guys know where I stand with a woman's right to choose. Alright? I see both sides though, just hear me out. I see both sides. I've personally I've never been pregnant. If I ever got pregnant, I would never have an abortion. I don't believe in it, but I do believe in the woman's right to choose their own body autonomy because there's so many different things that can happen, like sexual assaults and, of course, incest. And I also think that we need to think about that too. Like the conservatives, you need to think about how the child is going to live their life. Like, are they going to be abused? Because I believe over 60% of adoptive and foster care children are abused. They are sexually and mentally and physically abused. Over 60% of people who are given up for adoption, and that's by both the adults there as well as other children as well. Okay, and I think only about maybe 70% are adopted, but over 60 to 65% are abused. So you're not guaranteeing them a great life. And I get, no one's guaranteed a great life. Anything can happen, depends on the person. But at the same time, why do people care so much about an unborn child when they do nothing for them when they're here? How many unborn babies or how many born babies are you going to take care of? How many of these born babies are you going to, invite into your home? And let's face facts here. There's been a lot of talk about, abortion's wrong. And of course it's wrong. It's murder. Of course it is. But only certain people care about certain people, if you know what I mean. I've heard conversations before of stuff that was going on at the border in 2017 about a baby not having their diaper changed in a couple of hours. You can really tell that, the baby had a rash and not been changed. The diaper was really low. Of course, that was fake news, right? According to the right. Like I said, I'm independent right now. Not liberal. Don't like those people at all. But people in the comments were like, oh, who cares? It's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. Like, you claim that you care about unborn babies, or is it only the white unborn babies? Okay, I know it's not me using the race card. It's me literally calling people out. Either you care about children or you don't. Just like the little girl who accidentally, was playing with a gun and unalived herself, right? Another person, who cares? It's a black girl. Who cares? It's the parents' fault anyway because the guns are probably illegal and they were just thugging out like their parents because, that's what happens to criminals. That's what happens to criminals. You mean to tell me this man would have cared if that black woman had, unalived or had an abortion with her daughter that grew up to be a thug? Like, you either care about everybody, you don't. And that's my problem with people who say, it's a blessing. Not really. Like, you have to take in consideration incest and sexual assault. What kind of lives these children are going to be? Who's going to take care of them? Because the foster care system is horrible. I've heard some horror stories. I have a degree in child development. You guys should go look it up, do your research, and think about what a person would feel like if they find out that their 13-year-old mother, who had them when she was 14, was, sexually assaulted by her brother, and they're a result of incest. And not everyone's a psychopath that's going around getting pregnant 2 or 3 times a year either, and just aborting babies right and left. They're psychotic and disgusting if they're doing that. But I met someone a long time ago who, till this day, has not forgiven herself and was in tears telling me that she hopes that God forgives her for what she did, for aborting her baby, because she did not want that, but she felt she had no choice. People are not going around here just willy-nilly doing that. I don't believe that. And it's wrong for them to try to reverse it because people are going to go back to the good old days, go back in time and just start going back to back alleys again with hangers. And there's medical reasons too that if you have an unhealthy pregnancy, both the mother and the baby are going to end up dying anyway, because of medical emergency, or a man that doesn't want a baby and ends up murdering, unaliving the pregnant mother to be because she said no. Some people don't deserve to have children. And here's the thing. You cannot force somebody to give up their baby. Maybe if this goes through, you can force them to have it, right? But you can't force them to give it to you. You can't force them to give them up. And that baby can still end up unalive anyway. It's just after they're born and out of the womb, you know. Like, some people don't deserve to have kids. It was the man who literally unalived his 3-week-old baby by beating it to death. And like I said, it is murder. I know exactly what it is. Murder is killing a child. I know that. I don't agree with that. I believe it, you know, and a woman's right to choose. Like I already stated that, the reasons why, there's certain parallels that people need to think about before they say it's wrong, just bring all the babies here, because you're not going to help them. But on the other side, let me say this. Women, you need to use protection. If you don't want a baby, just use protection. I know sometimes, you know, the birth control pill can be dangerous, but please use some type of protection. At least use a condom, you know. Plan B, just be very careful. Do your research, because you do have weird side effects and it can be dangerous, but 99% of the time you're going to be fine. It's going to protect you, you know, and please be protected. I mean, the only thing I don't like about that is a man will say, well, if you don't want to get pregnant, then keep your legs closed. Why should I, as a woman, keep my legs closed when it's sure in the hell's not going to stop you from getting in between them, asshole? Why can't you be decent and use a condom or keep your penis in your pants? If you like the way the condom bill said, oh, get a vasectomy, that'll still work and making it impossible to have children. And I think that's the hypocritical, disgusting, arrogant, holier than thou response to say, keep your legs closed. No, you protect yourself. It's what you do. And men seem to feel like they don't have to take care of children either. That's another problem that I have with it. You know, because a person that was willing to take care of a child would not have had that type of reaction. Keep your legs closed, right? You know, I just think it's dangerous to go back in time and go and have it outlawed when it's just going to get more and more dangerous. They're going to do what they did back in the 60s and get, you know, someone to do it illegally, end up dying anyway. Baby's going to end up dying anyway. And I think whatever it is right now, it just needs to say that way, and people need to mind their business, because certain people you do not care about, and you know that you fucking don't. Okay? Certain races of people you don't care about, and you know that you don't. Okay? That's just my take on that. You know, every story has to be evaluated. Why people do what they do. They're not just all monsters. When you're literally crying in tears, saying, I hope when I get to heaven one day that God forgives me, my son forgives me, and I forgive myself too. That was literally told to me about from a person that has had an abortion. Okay, not everyone's running around killing people or killing babies. Okay, you need to protect yourself so that you don't get pregnant. Yes, but still, men need to also take some responsibility and protect themselves too. Instead of saying, "Oh, it's on you, bye." Long story short, that's what my father did to me, and didn't tell my mom that he was actually married after she told him that she was pregnant with me. So, men need to take some responsibility also, but don't act like it's just that cut and dry. Nothing should be reversed, because guess what? You're not going to stop anyone from getting rid of a child that they don't want, and that is just facts there. So that's my take on Roe versus Wade. Just protect yourself. And other people, they need to actually think about the consequences and what children are actually going to go through. If you really care about them, you care about all of them, not just certain ones. And you really need to think about the consequences and what's going to happen to them when they're brought into a world that they're not wanted, especially the way the foster and adoption care center is. The adoption and the foster system is really horrible to kids. And that's just my take on it. So, Roe versus Wade, I see both sides, but people really need to make better choices, obviously, on the abortion side. And other people really need to mind their business and kind of think about how people are going, what they're really going through. Because you can't compare them to other awful people in the world. You just can't. And that's my opinion on that.